in this dunya called laban. So we can comprehend something of what it will be like. And we know about honey in this dunya. So we can understand something which the honey will be like. But do we understand the reality of honey? And is the wine of the akhirah like the wine of the dunya? Kalla. Never. Just a similarity in names. And Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَبَشِّرِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and give the glad tidings to those who believe and they do righteous actions. أَنَّ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ, that for them will be jannat. تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارِ, and beneath these gardens rivers will flow. كُلَّمَا رُزِقُوا مِنْهَا مِنْ ثَمَرَةٍ رِزْقًا قَالُوا هَذَا الَّذِي رُزِقْنَا مِنْ قَبْلُ, and each time a fruit is given to them from the fruits of Jannah, they will say that this is the same fruit which we were given before. وَأُتُوا بِهِ مُتَشَابِهًا, but it will only resemble it. Meaning, the people of Jannah, when they will be given an apple, they will say that this apple, we were given this before, meaning in the dunya, but it will only resemble it. As for the taste and the delight and the sweetness, they will never have tasted it before. This is one explanation. The other tafsir which the ulama make of this ayah is even greater and even more profound. And that is that the people of Jannah, they will be given something from the fruits of Jannah. And then another time will come later on when they will be given the fruit again. And they will say that this fruit which we have been given on this day now, it is the same fruit of Jannah which we were given a short while ago in Jannah. And the explanation is that the second time that they eat this fruit, it will be totally different from the first time. And then the third time will be totally different from the second time. And who can imagine such a great reward? And Allah said in the Quran, وَجَزَاهُمْ بِمَا صَبَرُوا جَنَّةً وَحَرِيرًا, that Allah will reward them due to their patience, sabr, gardens for residence, and silk in terms of clothing. مُتَّكِئِينَ فِيهَا عَلَى الْأَرَائِكِ, and they will be lying on thrones. لَا يَرَوْنَ فِيهَا شَمْسًا وَلَا زَمْهَرِيرًا, and they will not see severe heat, and neither will they feel severe cold. وَدَانِيَةً عَلَيْهِمُ ظِلَالُهَا وَظُلِّلَتْ قُطُوفُهَا تَذْلِيلًا, and the shade will be brought close to them, and the fruits will be brought close to them. وَيُطَافُ عَلَيْهِمْ بِآنِيَةٍ مِّن فِضَّةٍ, and utensils of silver will be brought to them. وَأَكْوَابٍ كَانَتْ قَوَارِيرًا, and crystal clear glasses and utensils. And then Allah said towards the end of the ayah, إِنَّ هَذَا كَانَ لَكُمْ جَزَاءٌ وَكَانَ سَعْيُكُمْ مَشْكُورًا, that all of this reward is a reward of that which you do, and all of this reward is due to the struggles which you went in. So notice again, which people will have this reward? Those who struggle in this dunya. So you see a woman walking in front of you, you have to sacrifice, and you have to struggle, and you have to look away, even if your soul desires it. A song comes up, and you enjoy listening to it, you have to struggle and sacrifice. And this is the reward. In front of you is a career based upon riba, and a house based upon riba, and a business based on cheating and deceiving, we can make a lot of money quickly. And then there's another career in which there's no riba and there's no cheating, and it's based upon honesty and halal, and it's going to be difficult and long, and you're not going to make as much money, and you're not going to live in the bigger house. You have to struggle and be patient, because Allah said وَكَانَ سَعْيُكُمْ مَشْكُورًا, because that struggling which you did, it will be rewarded in the akhirah. And Allah mentioned regarding Jannah, He said فِي جَنَّةٍ عَالِيَةٍ, that they will be in gardens which are elevated and raised. لَا تَسْمَعُ فِيهَا لَاغِيَةً, and in it you will not hear any speech which is foul, any swearing, any hurt, any backbiting, only pleasant speech. فِيهَا عَيْنٌ جَارِيَةٌ, and there will be springs and rivers which are flowing. فِيهَا سُرُرٌ مَرْفُوعًا, and there will be couches or thrones which are raised high. وَأَكْوَابٌ مَوْضُوعًا, and there will be utensils which are placed in various places. وَنَمَارِقُ مَصْفُوفًا, and there will be cushions which are set and lined. وَزَرَابِيُّ مَبْثُوثًا, and there will be carpets which are spread out for the people. And Allah mentioned many other descriptions of Jannah, and a person has to go back to the Quran and the Hadith to read about the descriptions of Jannah. To summarize the descriptions of Jannah, a great scholar which many of you will have heard of, called Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyya rahimahullah, he authored a book which is called Hadi al-Arwah ila Balad al-Afrah, and it is a volume, and this book, all of it is regarding Jannah and describing Jannah and the journey of the soul to the place of happiness, i.e. Jannah. And anybody who can read Arabic, then find the book and read the book. And in this book, Hadi al-Arwah ila Balad al-Afrah, he mentions the descriptions of Jannah. He summarizes the descriptions of Jannah. And he said, وَكَيْفَ يُقَدَّرُ قَدْرَ دَارٍ غَرَسَهَ اللَّهُ بِيَدِهِ. How can a person estimate and think about an abode or a place which Allah sowed with His own hands? And this is from the authentic hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ خَلَقَ آدَمَ بِيَدِهِ, that verily Allah created Adam with His hand. وَغَرَسَ جَنَّةَ عَدْنٍ بِيَدِهِ, and Allah planted the seeds of Jannatu Adn with His hands. And this is the hadith, and we accept it according to that which befits His Majesty. He said, وَكَيْفَ يُقَدَّرْ قَدْرَ دَارٍ, and how can a person even imagine or estimate a place which Allah has made, وَجَعَلَهَا مُقِرًّا لِأَحْبَابِهِ, which Allah has made as a place for His most beloved, وَمَلَّاهَا مِنْ رَحْمَتِهِ, and a place which Allah has filled with His mercy. The Prophet ﷺ, he described the mercy of Allah. He said that the mercy of Allah is 99 parts. And the mercy of Allah which you see upon this dunya, how Allah provides for you, and He gave you your perfect bodies, and He gave you your aql, and He gave you safety, and He provides for the birds, and He provides for the fish, and He provides for the jinn, and He has taken care of everything, and He has given you rizq. All of this mercy which you see, and the mercy which Allah made in your hearts between each other, all of this mercy, it is from one part of the 99 parts of the mercy of Allah. Just one part. And the other 90 parts of this mercy, Allah has kept hidden in the akhirah. So imagine all of the mercy in this dunya, it is only one part of the 99 parts of the mercy of Allah. And in Jannah, Allah has filled it with His mercy. And one day Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, he was sitting with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and some of the companions. And all of a sudden, they saw a woman, and she appeared in front of the companions, and she was frantically searching for her boy who was lost, her only child, and she had lost him. She was searching where he has gone. And all of a sudden, she found the child. فَأَخَذَتْهُ, so she grasped him. وَأَلْسَقَتْهُ, and she embraced him and brought him close to her stomach. وَأَرْضَعَتْهُ, and then she began to feed her child. And then the Prophet ﷺ, he turned to the companions and he said, هَلْ تَرَوْنَ هَذِهِ الْمَرْأَةِ طَارِحَةً وَلَدَهَا فِي النَّارِ, that do you think this woman would ever throw her child in the fire? They said, لَا وَاللَّهِ, never. A mother, she will give her right arm instead of a child being pricked by a thorn. So they said, never will this mother, she's so merciful, how would she ever throw her child in the fire? And then the Prophet ﷺ said, Allahu arhamu bi'ibadihi min hadihi al-mar'a liwaladiha, that Allah is more merciful towards His people than this mother is towards her child. In fact, Allah is more merciful towards the child of this mother than the mother is towards her own child. And this mercy is only one part of the 99 parts of the mercy of Allah. And the other mercy, all of it is in Jannah. So like Ibn al-Qayyim said, how can we even estimate and think about this place which Allah has filled with His mercy? وَكِرَامَاتِهِ, and filled with His kindness and His grace. وَرِضْوَانِهِ, and filled with His pleasure. وَوَصَفَ نَعِيمَهَا بِالْفَوْزِ الْعَظِيمِ, that place which Allah described its delight as being al-fawz al-azim, the great success. وَمُلْكَهَا بِالْمُلْكِ الْكَبِيرِ, and Allah described the kingdom of Jannah as being the greater kingdom. وَأَوْدَعَهَا جَمِيعَ الْخَيْرِ بِحَذَافِيرِ, and Allah has placed all goodness in its entirety in Jannah. وَطَهَّرَهَا مِنْ كُلِّ عَيْبٍ, and Allah has purified this place from any weakness, any deficiency, any impurity. How can we even imagine such an abode? And then he started speaking about the descriptions of Jannah. He said, وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ أَرْضِهَا وَتُرْبَتِهَا, and if you question the ground of Jannah and the soil of Jannah, فَهِيَ الْمِسْكُ وَالزَّعْفَرَانِ, then it is musk, the fragrant perfume, and saffron. وَلَئِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ سَقَفِهَا, and if you want to ask about the ceiling or the roof of Jannah, فَهُوَ عَرْشُ الرَّحْمَنِ, then it is the throne of the most merciful. وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ بِلَاطِهَا, and if you want to ask about its paving and its cement, فَهُوَ الْمِسْكِ, then it is misk. وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ حُسْبَائِهَا, and if you question regarding its rocks and its stones, فَهُوَ اللُّؤْلُؤُ وَالْجَوْهَرُ, then it is pearls and jewels. وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ بَنَائِهَا, and if you question and ask about the buildings of Jannah, فَلُبْنَةٌ مِّن فِضَّةٍ وَلُبْنَةٌ مِّن ذَهَبٍ, then it is a brick of silver and a brick of gold. وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ أَشْجَارِهَا, and if you question and ask about its trees, فَمَا فِيهَا شَجَرَةٌ إِلَّا وَسَاقُهَا مِنْ ذَهَبٍ وَفِضَّةٍ, then there is no tree in Jannah except that the trunk of the tree is made from gold and silver, not from wood. وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ ثَمَرِهَا, and if you want to ask about the fruits of Jannah, فَأَمْثَالُ الْقِلَالِ أَلْيَنُ مِنَ الزُّبَدِ وَأَحْلَى مِنَ الْعَسَلِ, then it is softer than butter and sweeter than honey. وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ وَرْقِهَا, and if you want to ask about the leaves of the trees of Jannah, فَأَحْسَنُ مَا يَكُونُ مِنْ رَقَائِقِ الْحِلَلِ, then it is softer than the softest silk or fabric which you have touched. وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ أَنْهَارِهَا, and if you question about its rivers, فَأَنْهَارٌ مِّن لَبَنٍ لَمْ يَتَغَيَّرْ طَعْمُهُ, then a river of milk which will never go off in taste. وَأَنْهَارٌ مِّن خَمْرٍ لَذَّةٍ لِلشَّارِبِينَ, and rivers of wine which is beautiful for those who taste. وَأَنْهَارٌ مِّنْ عَسَلٍ مُصَفَّى, and rivers of honey which are pure. وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ طَعَامِهِمْ, and if you want to ask about the food of the people of Jannah, فَفَاكِهَةٌ مِمَّا يَتَخَيَّرُونَ, then any fruit which the people desire. وَلَحْمُ طَيْرٍ مِمَّا يَشْتَهُونَ, and any meat of any bird which they desire. وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ شَرَابِهِمْ, and if you ask about the drink of the people of Jannah, فَالتَّسْنِيمُ وَالزَّنْجَبِيلُ وَالْكَافُورُ. وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ آنِيَتِهِمْ, and if you want to ask about the utensils which the people of Jannah will have, فَآنِيَةُ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ فِي صَفَاءِ الْقَوَارِيرِ, then utensils of gold and silver and crystal clear. وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ سَعَةِ أَبْوَابِهَا, and if you question regarding how wide the gates of Jannah will be, then he said that it will be مَسِيرَةَ أَرْبَعِينَ مِنَ الْأَعْوَامِ, 40 years of a person traveling from one side to the other side, and he will not reach the other side of the door of Jannah. He said, وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ تَصْفِيقِ الرِّيَاحِ لِأَشْجَارِهَا, and if you want to ask about the wind which sways the trees, فَإِنَّهَا تَسْتَفِزُّ بِالطَّرَبِ لِمَنْ يَسْمَعُهَا, then it will be enchanting for the one who hears the sound of the wind swaying the trees. وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ ظِلِّهَا, and if you ask about the shade of the trees of Jannah, فَفِيهَا شَجَرَةٌ وَاحِدَةٌ, then in it is a tree, يَسِيرُ الرَّاكِبَ الْمُجِدَّ السَّرِيعُ, that the fast rider فِي ظِلِّهَا will ride in its shade مِئَةَ عَامٍ, for 100 years, لَا يَقْطَعُهَا, and yet he will not escape the shade of a tree of Jannah. وَإِن سَأَلْتَ عَنْ سَعَتِهَا, and if you want to ask about how great and how big Jannah is, فَأَدْنَى أَهْلُهَا, then the lowest of the people of Jannah in terms of his kingdom and his walls, and his palaces and his gardens will be a distance of 1,000 years. Just the lowest person of Jannah. وَلَئِنْ سَأَلْتَ عَنْ خِيَامِهَا, and if you want to ask about the tents of Jannah, he said one tent is like a concealed pearl that is 60 miles long. وَإِنْ سَأَلْتَ عَنْ عَلَالِيلِهَا وَجَوَاسِقِهَا, and if you want to ask about the towers in Jannah, he said فَهِيَ غُرَفٌ مِنْ فَوْقِهَا غُرَفٌ مَبْنِيَّةٌ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ. Then there are rooms above rooms above rooms beneath which rivers will flow. وَإِنْ سَأَلْتَ عَنِ ارْتِفَاعِهَا, and if you want to ask how high Jannah is, he said فَانْظُرْ إِلَى الْكَوْكَبِ, then look at the furthest star which you can see. Go outside go out and look at the sky and look at the furthest star which you can see, that star which your sight can almost see, and yet Jannah is greater and higher and bigger. وَإِنْ سَأَلْتَ عَنْ لِبَاسِ أَهْلِهَا, and if you question about the clothing of its inhabitants, he said فَهُوَ الْحَرِيرُ وَالذَّهَبُ, then it is silk and gold. He said فَلَئِنْ سَأَلْتَ عَنْ فُرَشِهَا, and if you want to ask about the beds and the blankets of Jannah, then the finest silk of the highest level. وَلَئِنْ سَأَلْتَ عَنْ وُجُوهِ أَهْلِهَا وَحُسْنِهِمْ, and if you ask about the faces of the people of Jannah and the beauty of the people of Jannah, he said فَعَلَى صُورَةِ الْقَمَرِ, then go out and look at the moon on a clear night, on the night of the full moon, when it appears and it is white and radiant and yellow and beautiful and illuminating, and light emanates from it, then this will be the example of the faces of the people of Jannah. وَإِنْ سَأَلْتَ عَنْ أَسْنَانِهِمْ, and if you ask about the age of the people of Jannah, he said فَأَبْنَاءُ ثَلَاثٍ وَثَلَاثِينَ, then there will be 33 years in the image of Adam alayhi salam. وَإِنْ سَأَلْتَ عَنْ سَمَاعِهِمْ, and if you want to ask about what the people of Jannah will hear, فَغِنَاءُ أَزْوَاجِهِمْ مِنَ الْحُورِ الْعِينِ, then it will be the singing of their wives from Hur al-Ain. وَأَعْلَى مِنْهُ سَمَاعُ أَصْوَاتِ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, and even better than the singing of their wives and the singing of Hur al-Ain is hearing the voices of the angels. Imagine in Jannah hearing the voice of angel Jibreel alayhi salam. وَأَعْلَى مِنْهُ, and even better than this is hearing the voices of the prophets. Imagine listening to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and Ibrahim and Musa and Harun and Zakaria and Ismail. وَأَعْلَى مِنْهُ, and even greater than this is خِطَابُ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ, hearing the voice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, and then after this he spoke about Hur al-Ain. And al-Hur al-Ain, he went on and on and on speaking about al-Hur al-Ain. And he spoke about in detail about their smile and their faces and their shapes and their bodies. But amongst us are children, and amongst us are those who are young. So refer back to this book, Hadi al-Arwah. And then he said, Hada, this is the reward in Jannah. And then he said, وَإِنْ سَأَلْتَ عَنْ يَوْمِ الْمَزِيدِ, and then if you ask about the day in which there will be an extra reward, the additional reward. And this is Ziyaratul Aziz al-Hamid, that day in which we will visit Al-Aziz al-Hamid. وَرُؤْيَةِ وَجْهِهِ, and the believers will see his face. كَمَا تَرَى الشَّمْسَ فِي الظَّهِيرَةِ, just as clear as the sun which you see at midday. وَالْقَمَرْ لَيْلَةَ الْبَدْرِ, and how you see the moon on a clear night. From the Aqidah of Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah is, like the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, al-mu'minuna yarawna rabbahum kama yarawna al-qamar laylat al-badr la tudaruna fi ru'yatih, that the believers will see Allah, they will see the face of Allah just like they clearly see the moon on a clear night, and there is no obstruction, a clear view. So he said, if you want to ask about that day in which there will be an additional reward and the believers will see Allah, فَاسْتَمِعْ يَوْمَ يُنَادِي الْمُنَادِي, then listen to that day in which a caller will call out. A caller will call out, يَا أَهْلَ الْجَنَّةِ, O people of Jannah, إِنَّ رَبَّكُمْ يَسْتَزِيرَكُمْ, verily your Lord, He requests you to visit Him. فَحَيَّ عَلَى زِيَارَتِهِ, let us go and visit Him. And the people of Jannah will say, Sam'an wa ta'a. We hear and we obey. فَيَسْتَوُونَ عَلَى ظُهُورِهَا. So all of them, they will go towards where they will meet Allah. And they will go toward the wide valley. And none of them will turn down the request of meeting Allah. And when they are, all of them are there, أَمَرَ الرَّبْ تَبَارَكَ وَتَعَالَى بِكُرْسِيِّهِ. Then Allah will order for His kursi to be brought forward. And then there will be pulpits. مَنَابِرْ مِن نُور وَمَنَابِرْ مِن لُؤْلُؤ وَمَنَابِرْ مِن ذَهَبْ وَمَنَابِرْ مِن فِضَّةٍ. There will be pulpits of light, and pulpits of pearls, and pulpits of gemstones, and pulpits of gold, and pulpits of silver. And he said, وَجَلِيسُ أَدْنَاهُمْ or مَجْلَسُ أَدْنَاهُمْ. And as for the sitting of the lowest person of Jannah, and he said, وَحَاشَاهُمْ أَنْ يَكُونَ فِيهِمْ دَنِيمٌ. And there is no lower in Jannah. There is no lowest person in Jannah. The reward of Jannah is too great for there to be a lowest. But the lowest person in reward in Jannah, then his mimbar, his pulpit will be from misk, a fragrant perfume. حَتَّى إِذَا اسْتَقَرَّتْ بِهِ مَجَالِسُهُمْ. Until when they are comfortable where they are sitting. وَاطْمَأَنَّتْ بِهِمْ أَمَاكِنُهُمْ. And they are secure and tranquil in their places. نَادَ الْمُنَادِي. And then a voice will call out, يَا أَهْلَ الْجَنَّةِ. O people of Jannah, إِنَّ لَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ مَوْعِدًا. You have a promise with Allah. يُرِيدُ أَن يُنْجِزِكُمُوهُ. And He wants to fulfill this promise which He promised you. And the people of Jannah will say, مَا هُوَ. What is this promise? What is this extra reward? What can Allah give us more than He has already given us? أَلَمْ يُبَيِّضْ وُجُوهَنَا. Did He not brighten our faces? وَيُثْقِلْ مَوَازِينَنَا. And did He not make our scales heavy? وَيُدْخِلْنَا الْجَنَّةِ. And did He not already enter us into Jannah? وَيُزَحْزِهُنَا عَنِ النَّارِ. And did He not also already remove us from the fire? What more can Allah give us in reward? And whilst they are saying this, إِذْ سَطَعَ لَهُمْ نُورٌ. All of a sudden, a light will emanate. And they will see this light. أَشْرَقَتْ بِهِ الْجَنَّةِ. And all of Jannah will be encompassed by this light. فَرَفَعُوا رُؤُوسَهُمْ. And then the people, they will raise their heads and raise their sight. And they will see this light which is emanating from Al-Jabbar. تَقَدَّسَتْ أَسْمَاؤُهُ. And then it will be said to them, يَا أَهْلَ الْجَنَّةِ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكُمْ. O people of Jannah, may the greetings of peace be upon you. And nobody will know how to reply to this salam. And the only thing which they will say is, Allahumma anta salam. O Allah, you are as-salam. Wa minka as-salam. And from you is as-salam. Tabarakta yal jalali wal ikram. Blessed are you, O possessor of majesty and honor. فَتَجَلَّى لَهُمُ الرَّبِّ. And then Allah will show Himself to them. And show His face to them. And Allah will say, أَيْنَ عِبَادِي. Where are my people? الَّذِينَ أَطَاعُونِي بِالْغَيْبِ. Those who used to obey me and they never saw me. فَهَذَا يَوْمُ الْمَزِيدِ. This is the day which has promised. And the people, they will not be able to say anything. They will say, أَنَّا قَدْ رَضِينَا فَرْضِ عَنَّا. Oh Allah, we are pleased with you, so be pleased with us. And Allah will reply, يَا أَهْلَ الْجَنَّةِ, O people of Jannah, إِنِّي لَوْ لَمْ أَرْضَ عَنْكُمْ لَمْ أُسْكِنْكُمْ جَنَّتِي. Had I not been pleased with you, I would not have settled you in my Jannah. هَذَا يَوْمُ الْمَزِيدِ. This is the day of the extra reward. What do you want? And then the people will say, أَرِنَا وَجْهَكَ نَنْظُرُ إِلَيْهِ. Show us your blessed face, so we can see your face. فَيَكْشِفُ لَهُمُ الرَّبُّ جَلَّ جَلَالَ الْحُجُرِ. And then Allah will remove the veil which is between Him and between the people. فَيُغَشَّاهُمْ مِن نُورِهِ. And Allah will cover them with His light. مَا لَا لَوْلَا أَنَّ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى قَضَى أَلَّا يَحْتَرِقُوا لَاحْتَرَقُوا. Had this light will be so strong that had Allah not protected them from burning, they would have burnt with the light of Allah. And then Allah will speak to the people. And He will say, Ya Fulan, or so and so. And He will say this and He's laughing. He will say to the people, Ya Fulan ibn Fulan, or so and so, the son of so and so. أَتَذْكُرُ يَوْمٍ قَدْ فَعَلْتَ كَذَا وَكَذَا. Do you remember that day when you did this sin and you did that sin? And the people say, Ya Rabb, alam taghfir lana? Oh our Lord, did you not already forgive us for these sins? And Allah will say, Bala bi maghfirati balagtum manzilatukum. Rather, due to my forgiveness, have you attained this station. And then Ibn al-Qayyim ended this chapter. He said, فَيَا لَذَّةِ الْأَسْمَعْ بِتِلْكَ الْمُحَاضَرَةِ. How sweet will that discourse and that conversation be on Yawm al-Qiyamah. وَيَا قُرَّةَ عُيُونِ الْأَبْرَارِ. And how much delight and comfort and coolness will come to the eyes of the believers. بِالنَّظَرِ إِلَى وَجْهِهِ الْكَرِيمِ. By looking at the noble face of Allah. فِي الدَّارِ الْآخِرَةِ. In the abode of the Akhirah. وَيَا ذُلَّةَ الرَّاجِعِينَ بِالصَّفَقَةِ الْخَاسِرَةِ. And how wretched will those people be. How wretched and in misery will those people be who destroyed themselves because they didn't obey Allah, because they could not see Him. So on Yawm al-Qiyamah they will not be able to see Allah. And then Ibn al-Qayyim mentioned the ayah, وُجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ نَاظِرَةٌ. On that day there will be some faces that will be shining and radiant. إِلَى رَبِّهَا نَاظِرَةٌ. Looking at their Lord. وَوُجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ بَاسِرَةٌ. And other faces on that day dark and gloomy and sad and despairing. تَظُنُّ أَن يُفْعَلَ بِهَا فَاقِرَةٌ. Thinking that a calamity is about to befall them. And the important point in all of this, أيها الأحباب, is not only should we know the descriptions of Jannah, but we should pay attention to those things which I mentioned, the descriptions of the people of Jannah. Those people for whom Jannah is prepared. Allah said, الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا. The people of taqwa. Allah mentioned the people of fasting. The Prophet mentioned the people of wudu. The people of dua and dhikr. The people of sabr. Those people who control themselves, control their desires. Those people stay away from haram. The people of at-tawheed. So if you want to be from the people of tawheed, may Allah make me and you from the people of tawheed, then we have to fulfill these descriptions. The Prophet ﷺ said, أَلَا إِنَّ سِلْعَةَ اللَّهِ غَالِيَةٌ. Verily, the merchandise which Allah offers, it is not cheap. It is expensive. It requires sacrifice and struggle. أَلَا إِنَّ سِلْعَةَ اللَّهِ الْجَنَّةِ. Verily, the merchandise which Allah offers, it is Jannah. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-Jannah wa ma qarraba ilayha min qawlin wa amal. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-ikhlas fi al-qawli wal-amal. Allahumma inna nas'aluka ilman nafi'an wa amalan salihan wa rizqan tayyiba. Allahumma ighfir lana ma qaddamna wa ma akharna wa ma asrarna wa ma a'lanna wa ma anta a'lamu bihi minna. أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر لا إله إلا أنت وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على نبينا محمد.